Hey guys, welcome to Whiskey and Literature. I'm your host, Captain Mike, and I'm excited because tonight, well, we're drinking some whiskey. It's Whiskey Advocate's #1 whiskey of the year from 2023. And yeah, I know it's March 2024, but I wasn't able to find this expression until just a couple weeks ago. Relatively hard to find, and I've been looking ever since I read this article. Finally ran across it, and so here you go. And I don't know how much weight that you personally give to these kinds of lists from websites and magazines and YouTube guys. I find them useful because I don't have any friends who might recommend whiskeys to me. So I like to use these lists to maybe explore some other parts as I try and drink more and more different kinds of whiskey. I mean, it'd be easy to just drink, pick one or two or your three of your favorites and just drink that all the time. But I think it's interesting for me, as I've been drinking for 4 or 5 years, to try new whiskeys. And I think these lists are a great way to do it. And from this list from Whiskey Advocate, this is it's a magazine. They do a top 20 list every year, and I have found a couple bottles from this list that I've really enjoyed. The Hemingway Signature Edition I thought was an excellent rye, and I'm grateful to have found it from here, and that was pretty awesome. So tonight's whiskey was the Whiskey Advocate's #1 whiskey of the year from last year. It's from a little Scottish distillery you probably haven't heard of. I never heard of Glenglassaugh. And I'm probably even not saying that correctly. It's from the northern coast of Scotland. You've never heard of them because they pretty much were closed for half of their 150 years of existence. So they were shuttered until 2008 when they restarted again and purchased by Brown-Forman in 2016. So they came out with 3 new expressions last year in 2023, a 12-year-old whiskey, a peated whiskey, and a single malt non-aged stated known as the Sandend, which was Whiskey Advocate's #1 whiskey of the year. Let's go through the specs and stats for this bottle and then get it. Sandend is named for a beach that's nearby the distillery. Again, it's non-aged stated, malted barley. It was aged in bourbon, sherry, and manzanilla casks that were then blended together. It's bottled at an unscotch-like 50.5 ABV, and I paid $69.99 for this not, I think, easy to find bottle. Okay, so let's get it. Have you ever used these lists to buy a bottle, and has it been worth it to you, or did you regret that purchase? I think for most of these list bottles that I've purchased, the Bardstown Origin series, again the Hemingway, and a few other bottles I bought from these types of lists and recommendations. For me, for the most part, they've been pretty good purchases. Okay, the Glenglassaugh Sandend. Like a lot of Scotch, it's just very light colored. Last night I had 3 different 12-year-old bourbons, and you know, it was so much darker and richer looking than this Scotch. I would say this is very light straw. Maybe that's a light straw. That's probably a good descriptor for this. It's very typical, I think, of the Scotches that I've tried. Not very many legs. They run it down pretty quickly. Seems like a light whiskey. Last night again with those bourbons, just a crazy amount of legs and just slowly running down. Just very different. Okay, anyway. Trying to get through this as quickly as we can tonight, but hitting all the highlights and tell you what I think about this $70 bottle of whiskey. It's bright on the nose. I think that 50.5 ABV helps. It just makes it alive, and the aroma is very present and bright. Tropical and fruity, some citrus. I like it. It's very pleasant. It has that bread note, like I think it's very typical in these Scotches. It's very good. I don't drink a lot of Scotches. I'm more of a maybe a bourbon and a rye guy, an American whiskey. But I do have some Scotches. My favorite from last year, just for a reference of like what I really liked, the Glenmorangie Cabal Estate, batch 2 and batch 3. The batch 3 was my favorite whiskey from last year. I thought that was really spot on, and I super enjoyed that buttery smoothness of that whiskey. It was great. Anyway, cheers. Wow. Really lively, really bright, even brighter than the nose. A lot of different flavors in there, a lot of notes, and I really, wow, that's actually a really nice pour. My first thought is, again, bright. It has a nice mouthfeel. Just coats really nice. I'm not gonna say it's oily, but it's nice and viscous and very present. Again, bright. It's got those fruit notes on it. Perhaps a little not as tropical as was lively on the nose. It's more perhaps some stone fruits, and you know, it's not surprising. It's on the coast of Scotland, and it is salty. I didn't catch that on the nose. Does salt even have an aroma? I don't know, but it's not an unpleasant saltiness. It's just balancing out that sweet fruit notes. I'm gonna say some stone fruits as opposed to the tropical. I always felt like that nose was really kind of citrusy. So that definitely salty, and it's buttery smooth as well. Maybe even a butter note in there. Maybe even like a hint of anise, just right there. Just a hint peeking through those. I'm gonna say there's a little bit of bread note on there. There's some stone fruits. It's salty, buttery, and some black licorice or anise. I guess I would say those are the same. I don't make any distinction between those. Like when I have absinthe, of course, that is just straight anise is what it tastes like to me. That black licorice note. It's like I said, I really enjoy it. And there's just a touch of that kind of rolling through there in the center of this pour. It's real nice. It'd be interesting because it's been a couple months since I rolled out that Glenglassaugh, and to compare that to this, would this be my whiskey of the year? I don't know. I felt like I had some really good whiskeys last year, as I really just kind of exploded the amount of whiskey that I had. But if I had this before, and I think this just came out in September or so last year, this definitely would be one of my favorite scotches that I've had. Like, it's just an explosion of flavors, and it's still just nice little tingly, warming coming down in my mouth. It's not coating my the outside of my mouth. Is right there on my mid palate. It's just lingering and lingering. Just some butter, some salt, and some sweetness from some fruits. And man, I'm really digging this. And I've thought about starting to rate the whiskeys that I experience. I just not started any kind of rating system for the whiskeys, but I think this is a really good one. I'm excited about this one. Again, I didn't roll those scotches out very often, but I think I'm gonna roll this out more often, and we're gonna have a nice Scotch blind coming up here pretty quickly, and we're gonna see how this one does compared to the Macallan, Glenglassaugh, the Glenlivet, and the other great Scotches that I think that I have. For $69, I'm interested to see what Mrs. Captain thinks about this, because she doesn't like scotches. But this one's so bright and fruity, a little salty, buttery, some bread notes. I'm really interested, and she likes that black licorice, like that anise note. She loves a nice absinthe. Again, it's not overwhelming in here at all, but it has all those right notes that I think Mrs. Captain might actually appreciate this one too. So, in conclusion, whiskey of the year, I don't know. And just as a quick side note, just that finish there, it's just still kind of lingering, just some heat and spice. It's really nice. It's just staying with me and invite me to sip a little bit more, which I'm gonna do. It's a great whiskey. Whiskey of the year? Don't know. Probably not for me, but it is an excellent whiskey, and I'm happy to have it on my shelf. And if you are into scotches or like scotches, or you want to like scotches, for $69.99, this is not going to break the bank like some of those scotches do. I think it's a pretty easy one, though it's a little more difficult to find. I've seen the 12-year-old, and they're peated on the shelf on a more regular basis. So you might have to hunt around a little bit for this one. Maybe it comes in waves. I think it's an excellent pour. I'm really excited about it, and happy and excited to get deeper into this bottle. All right, my guys, if you've enjoyed the video, like it, subscribe to see more of my content. I do both book and whiskey reviews, but for now, you know what to do. I hope you're reading something good and drinking something great. Turn the pages and stay thirsty, my friends. Cheers.